Hello, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are having a heart-to-heart about something that catches many of us off guard, and that is the realization that time is passing us by faster than we ever expected. Maybe it's the moment you catch a glimpse of your reflection and notice the subtle signs of aging. Maybe it's watching your kids, who once needed you for everything, suddenly spread their wings and step into their own lives. Or maybe it's a shift in your energy, your health, or just a deeper awareness that you've been running hard for years and you can't quite keep up the same pace anymore. Maybe you've suddenly realized you've been moving so fast that you haven't truly been present. This realization often comes in midlife when the weight of mortality becomes more real, when we notice that we don't quite bounce back like we used to, when the exhaustion isn't just from one busy season, but from years of running on empty. If you've ever had that moment of wondering, how did I get here so fast? This episode is for you. But listen, this isn't going to be a conversation about regret, people. This is about how we move forward with intention, how we slow down and reclaim the life we have, and how we make the second half of life even richer than the first. We're going to talk about why we burn ourselves out, the cost of always being busy, and most importantly, how to shift our mindset and daily habits to create a life we truly savor. I'll be sharing some research, some biblical wisdom, and practical ways to balance work, life, and health as we step into midlife and beyond. So take a breath, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about how to stop running and start living. Are you a busy woman in leadership who feels pulled in 1,000 directions? Do you wrestle with perfectionism, people-pleasing, or never feeling like you're enough no matter how successful you are on paper? Are you longing for more time, more peace, and more energy to live and lead the way God intended? Sister, you are right where you need to be. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, healthcare leader, Christian life coach, and functional health practitioner. I spent decades hustling for my worth through achievement and approval, only to end up burned out and exhausted. But God showed me a better way, a grace-fueled way. And now, I help women just like you break free from people-pleasing and overwhelm, lead well, live well, and be well. Here, we blend spirit-driven success with practical leadership, wellness, and mindset strategies so that you can multiply your time and impact without sacrificing your health or your family. If you're ready to lead well, live healthier, and finally find the peace and purpose God has waiting for you, you are in the right place. So roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to reclaim your time, restore your joy, and lead from grace. I don't know if I'm just speaking for me. I don't think so, but there is something about midlife that shifts our perspective. For decades, we've been running, building careers, raising families, managing responsibilities, checking all the boxes. But then, suddenly, we hit a moment when we look up and we realize life has been happening while we were busy. I just had celebrated my daughter, and she's 25, she's in medical school, she's planning a wedding, and she's planning a baby. So she's less than 2 months away now, and I just stop and realize my baby is having a baby. Crazy. It's weird. Like, how did time fly so fast? I miss my babies being babies, but I'm so excited to see my baby having a baby. But anyway, it led me to talk about this topic today, just the realization that life has passed us by so quickly. Psychologists call this a midlife reflection period, so I guess it's not just me. Studies show that somewhere between our late 30s and our early 50s, most people go through a period of introspection. We start asking questions like, is this the life I want to keep living? Where did all those years go? Or what do I want the second half of my life to look like? Research from Harvard University actually found that our happiness levels often dip in midlife, not because our lives are bad, but because we become acutely aware of time's passing. We recognize that years behind us are starting to outnumber the years ahead. But here's the powerful part. This realization can actually be a gift. The good news? This same study found that happiness often increases again later in life if we make intentional choices about how we live it. That means we have a choice today. We can keep running, or we can slow down and start to savor the life that God has given us. We have an opportunity to live the rest of our lives differently. We don't have to keep hustling, keep racing. We don't have to let the next decade pass us by in a blur. We can change. Unfortunately, we live in a world that glorifies the grind. We wear busyness like it's a badge of honor. The long hours, the overpacked schedules, the constant pressure to achieve, the guilt we feel if we sit still too long. But what is this really costing us? Well, how about our health for one? Chronic stress and overwork lead to hormonal imbalances, adrenal fatigue, actually HPA axis dysfunction, and all kinds of inflammation in the body that eventually lead to disease. Studies have linked overwork to 33% increased risk of stroke and a 13% increased risk of heart disease. Also, how about our relationships? If we're always too busy, our most important relationships suffer. A 75-year Harvard study on happiness found that the number one predictor of long-term well-being isn't money or success. It is deep, meaningful relationships. Do you hear that? The number one predictor of long-term well-being is not money or success. It's deep and meaningful relationships. Another thing that sometimes we pay a price for when it comes to our rushing and our busyness is our faith. When we're constantly rushing, we struggle to hear from God. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." But stillness is hard to find when we're constantly moving. My friend, God never called us to burnout. He called us to abundant living. And abundance doesn't mean more work. It means more peace, more joy, and more presence in the life we already have. Now, side note, this is not to say that work is not a good thing. Work, when we're capable and able, work is biblical and work is good. I'm talking about overwork. So, what does the Bible say about time and rest? Well, Scripture has a lot to say about time and how we are called to steward it. Psalm 90 verse 12 says, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom." God doesn't call us to fill our days with endless striving. He calls us to wisdom. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 reminds us there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Every season has its purpose. Maybe this is the season to slow down and truly enjoy the life that you've built. Matthew chapter 6 verse 34 says, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. God calls us to live in the present, not to be consumed by the past or anxious about the future. So if we know that time is passing and we know that God calls us to live with wisdom and in abundance, what does that actually look like in daily life? Well, let's talk about some strategies to slow down and live more fully. Number 1, create a practice of pause in your day. One of the biggest reasons we feel like time is slipping away is because we're always rushing to the next thing. How about instead of jumping from task to task, Build intentional pauses into your day. Before walking into work, take a deep breath and thank God for another day. Before eating, say a slow, intentional prayer of gratitude. Before bed, reflect on one small moment of joy from that day. Small pauses actually rewire our brains to be more present. Number 2, prioritize what actually matters and let go of what doesn't. Not everything in your life needs to be urgent, but we live like it does. Start asking yourself, if I say yes to this thing, what am I saying no to? If work is creeping into every evening, set a boundary. Maybe you put your phone in a different room or silence it from 6 to 9 p.m. every night, or whatever is reasonable and realistic for your life. Set a boundary around your time. If your schedule is packed with things that drain you, reevaluate how many of them are actually necessary. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is realizing that you don't have to do everything in order to be valuable. Strategy number 3, shift from a productivity mindset to a presence mindset. We've been conditioned to believe that our worth is in what we accomplish, but that's not biblical. Jesus didn't rush. He wasn't constantly maximizing his time. Instead, he walked, he sat, he had long conversations, he noticed people. Try this. Next time you feel the urge to rush, pause. Look your kids in the eyes instead of multitasking. Enjoy your coffee instead of gulping it down. Take a walk and leave your phone behind. Strategy number 4, make small daily choices that support your health. Your body is God's temple. Stewarding it well is an act of worship. What does that look like? Well, here's a big one. If nothing else, sleep at least 7 hours a night, ideally 8 or even 9. But 7 to 8 hours is essential for everyone. Even those of you that think you only need 5, no, your body actually needs 7 to 8. Eat foods that fuel you, don't drain you. And by the way, not all foods respond the same way for all people. What is one person's food may be another person's poison. There's actually a philosopher that said that. I can't remember his name. When I find it, I'll let you know. It wasn't my saying. I'm learning more and more about this every day as I explore metabolic typing and various food sensitivities that actually result in some foods being harmful or helpful for some people, while absolutely not for others. Lettuce might be a helpful thing for one person and a harmful thing for someone else, literally. More to come on that in future months. But bottom line, at least think about eating foods that are whole the way God made them and that fuel you instead of drain you or toxify you. Move your body in ways that bring you joy. I've struggled for years with the fact that I haven't been running because it was something that was so difficult for me, and because of that, it was so rewarding. Nothing else made me feel like I was working as hard as when I was running. But as I stopped doing it, it became harder. And trying to do it again became less enjoyable. I love walking, but I felt like walking was sort of a cop-out form of activity because it was far more enjoyable and easier than running. But this is faulty thinking because I'd often choose to do nothing because walking didn't feel ambitious enough, but running felt too hard. Now clearly, walking, something I enjoy very much, is far better for me than doing nothing. So why not choose something that brings me joy and gets my body moving? Take breaks instead of pushing through exhaustion. Rest is okay, people. Your future self, your 70-year-old self, will thank you. Strategy number 5. This is a big one, and actually it's backed by research. Cultivate a heart of gratitude. One of the best ways to slow down and savor life is by noticing the good that's already here. Noticing what our awesome God has created. Consider at the end of each day writing down one moment that you were grateful for. Speak gratitude aloud. Instead of, I have so much to do, say, I get to do this work today. Remember that ordinary is actually sacred. The smell of coffee, the sound of laughter, the warmth of sunlight. These are the moments that make a life. Let me go over those 5 strategies one more time because they are all so good and so important. 5 strategies to slow down and live life more fully. Number 1, create a pause practice in your day. Number 2, prioritize what actually matters and let go of what doesn't. Number 3, shift from a productivity mindset to a present mindset. Number 4, make small daily choices that support your health. Number 5, cultivate a heart of gratitude. Not only a heart, but a practice of gratitude. Friend, yes, time is moving forward, but you don't have to live in regret. You can make choices starting today that create a life that you love, one small step at a time. Let this be your invitation. Slow down. Be present. Choose what matters. And above all, remember that God isn't measuring your life by how much you get done. He's inviting you to abide in Him, to enjoy the life that He's given you, and to trust Him with the rest. You're not behind, you're not too late, and your best years, well, they might just be ahead of you. Until next time, my friends, take a deep, deep breath, be present, and keep leading and living with grace.
I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.